It was a bit disturbing, but it was convincing. So I gave you a job as a research assistant when you arrived at TU Delft for the final part of your master program. And immediately I saw the potential for a PhD candidate there. The very first in DITLAB. It took a bit of creativity from my side to get the finances sorted out. And it took patience and loyalty from your side to wait for that opportunity. And I thank you for that loyalty, and I thank you for that patience. Because you did have other options, but you chose DITLAB. You started your PhD in 2015 while working part-time at CGI, and in 2018 you continued full-time. Now I tell you all this, and the audience, to give you some context as to why you deserve your PhD cum laude. It may seem there are a lot of those these past few weeks, but I can assure you this is not the case. This is what the TU Delft says stands for cum laude. It means your doctoral research was pioneering, was innovative, and performed with a high degree of independence in a reasonable amount of time. Also engaging in other excellent academic work during your PhD is a motivation for such a designation. First punch me, your work is pioneering and innovative. Your ideas of mixing methods from transportation analysis, machine learning, and computer science to unravel large-scale patterns, dynamic patterns in huge amounts of data place your work at the forefront of our discipline. This is disruptive. Particularly because you want to go beyond prediction and estimation. You want to use those methods to better understand transportation systems and the underlying dynamics. And I foresee you playing a leading role in this area, I really do. And so does Oded. In the coming years. Unless, of course, you go back to designing 3D shooter games instead of mining 3D traffic patterns. Secondly, you're also highly independent, and you combine that with being a great collaborator. Now let me illustrate this with the collaboration that we had on Chapter 6, which was one of the most pleasurable we worked on, I think. It involved Oded, and involved a former PhD student. At some point, I essentially gave you a few scribbles on my iPad, and in no time you turned this into a system of 24,000 solvable equations, and that meant you turned a half-hearted idea into something that actually worked and even looked kind of brilliant. However, the best thing about this collaboration is that a week before the ISTT deadline, we discovered that it was slightly less brilliant than we originally thought, and it took half an hour on the whiteboard together, and your amazing talent to turn another half-baked idea, because I said let's do PCA, into something that actually worked, and you pulled it off. So research is not just about independently solving puzzles. Research, in my view, is learning together. It's being creative with combinations of ideas and synthesizing them into something that wasn't there before. Now third, the criterion within reasonable time, I think we can be sure here in the 3.5 years of your PhD, your scientific production has been phenomenal. You worked in 8 journal papers, 7 conference papers, you build all sorts of apps and tools that everyone uses, and in the process you assisted in courses, co-organized seminars, was important in the wonderful European project CETA, and helped many PhD students and fellow colleagues. Now finally, academic achievements not in your thesis. Punctually, in many ways, you embody the core values that I hold very dear in DITLAB. And you did so from the very start, back in 2014. You combine personal excellence with a natural talent for collaboration and supporting others. Not because I ask you to, because simply this is who you are. You worked on your own CV and you helped others work on theirs. And I got all bushy because of it. But it's well meant. So I believe this is the metric against which we should assess academic talent as much as personal excellence. Punctually, for all these reasons, we, Oded and I, are convinced you have a very bright future ahead of you in academia. Wij, Oded en ik, vonden het een ongelooflijk plezier en voorrecht om in jouw succes te mogen delen als promotor en begeleider. En we kijken enorm uit naar onze verdere samenwerking. Dr. Krishna Kumari, nogmaals heel erg gefeliciteerd met deze fantastische prestatie.